Dear students, let us continue our study of this paper Forensic Chemistry and Explosives, and in this module we shall discuss about the evaluation and assessment of the scene of explosion. If we look at the learning outcomes of this module, after studying this module you shall be able to know about how the assessment and evaluation of the explosion scene is done, wherein the focus will be you will understand how the documentation is done and also how the post blast investigative team does the efforts. So, this will be giving you the idea about how the explosion scene is properly evaluated and then assessed. Let us begin with assessment of explosive crime scene, which is a two-stage investigation. An explosion occurs as a result of a chemical reaction which releases a vast amount of physical or chemical energy accompanied by light, heat and sound in a short space of time. And this you have already learned in detail what is explosion, how it happens and the various types in the earlier modules. The cause of an explosion could range from a simple accident in the home to a major terrorist incident. Either way, an intricate investigation must take place to establish the exact circumstance of the event. The site of an explosion must first be deemed safe before the officers may proceed with their investigation. As within fire investigations, consideration must be given to the structural integrity of buildings, dangerous materials such as glass and metal, and flammable or toxic substances. In bombing cases, there is always the possibility that second devices have been placed, either bombs that did not detonate as planned or those specifically designed to harm people responding to the incident. Therefore, the area should be deemed structurally safe. Experts should be called in to locate any further explosives and appropriate protective clothing should be worn. Just like with any crime scene, a cordon will be placed around the area to preserve the evidence and control who can enter the scene. The diameter of the cordon will be dependent on the incident, as an unexploded device requires a smaller cordon as no debris is involved. Keep in mind that when an explosion is reported, the next assignment of investigators is to find out the facts leading to it. Explosions will result in specific damage being caused either to the surrounding areas or the presence of which may indicate such an incident has taken place. Therefore, investigators should search for this characteristic damage. If you look at textiles, textiles will take on specific material when subjected to the heat caused by an explosion, with many melting and once again solidifying, displaying clubbed damage. Surfaces slightly further away such as roofings, the rooftops and the stationary vehicles, they are likely to collect soot deposits from the materials which have burned during the explosion. The pressure and heat of the blast will cause specific damage to nearby surfaces, the kind of damage being specific to the material. So, all this you should be very aware of. Once confirmed, the origin of the explosion needs to be located. The presence and depth of specific damage or a crater may indicate the origin or seat of the explosion. that is from where the explosion arose. It must then be established whether the incident was caused by maliciously placed explosives or it was just an accident, such as a gas leak. Investigators will be on the lookout for both signs of potential gas leaks and similar, but also for the indicators of the bomb use. The investigation into an explosion involves two stages, namely the field investigation, which is also called as the crime scene investigation, and the second being the laboratory or the chemical examination of the crime scene exhibits. Talking about the first one, the crime scene investigation involves site documentation and collection of post-blast debris and components. During the investigation of an explosion scene, investigators must search far and wide for the possible fragments, as much of the bomb is thrown far from the epicenter due to the heat and the kinetic energy produced. Fragments may be found on rooftops, under other debris, and even embedded in other objects or even inside the victims. All the fragments must be collected to ensure that the bomb can be reconstructed. Such fragments may also carry the fingerprints belonging to the perpetrator. Components searched for at a crime scene, they include detonators, tapes, wires, timers, switches and batteries. So, as a forensic science investigator, you should search for all these. Once all the present components have been collected, experts should be able to establish what kind of explosive device was used, including its construction and how it was triggered. Note that investigations are not limited to the scene of explosion incident itself, but it can be extended to the homes of the suspects. Homes may be examined and analyzed for any indication of bomb construction, including the bomb fragments and explosive substances found there. Surfaces have to be swabbed to detect the presence of minute traces of explosive residues, either using chemical indicators or to collect the samples for further laboratory analysis. Multiple investigating steps we will discuss. They are used to determine whether an explosion scene actually exists or not. Then the identification, collection, documentation of bomb components, they are all carried out in this sequence. That is, first we have the initial response, then the evaluation of the explosion scene, after that we have entering the scene, then there is a documentation of the scene which needs to be done, followed by where to find evidence, then how to find evidence, and then final survey, and then the release of scene. Now, after this knowledge, let us move to initial response and the first responder. What are the responsibilities and duties associated? At the explosion crime scene, the following responsibilities should be performed by the first responder. That is, the initial response to a reported incident may or may not include a post-blast investigator or a bomb technician, but it certainly includes the response by a uniformed police officer. Another thing is, the first responding officer evaluates whether an explosion has occurred or not. That is, was it merely an accident or really explosion has taken place. The degree of additional resources that is additional police officers, the firefighters and or the medical support, whether it is how much it is required, that also is found out. Then after that there is an immediate assessment for the safety of the scene regardless of the cause of the explosion which is done. After this, the role is to establish the exclusion perimeters around the scene, that is where the cordoning has to be done and the entering will be disallowed. Further, the responsibility is to remove the personnel from the scene, that is if there are some human life and they should be removed from that scene, and if they need medical attention immediately that should be provided. To assist the medical support personnel in the removal and care of the injured. So, that should be the topmost priority as I told you earlier also. The first responder should only indicate that the scene appears to be from the result of an explosion or not. So, it is not saying by confirmation, there is like it appears to be, either it is an explosion or accident. Further, it is not the duty of the first responding officer to make a cause determination of the explosion. And another thing you have to keep in mind, the actual cause determination is made later by the post blast investigator, which may be in conjunction with a bomb technician. Let us now go to safety assessment component. The safety assessment should include an evaluation of the following possible explosion scene hazards, that is the blood borne pathogens may be there, the metal glass debris, fire, structural integrity, utilities especially the electrical components, any hazardous material if it is there, and the secondary explosive devices if the incident was indeed a bomb explosion. Let us now move to understanding how the evaluation of the explosion scene is done. The evaluation is conducted by an investigator knowledgeable to make the determination of whether the explosion was caused by the detonation of an explosive, that is a chemical compound or mixture of chemicals designed to explode. He or she should be able to determine whether the detonation or the deflagration of a diffused fuel explosion consistent with air explosion involving a gas like natural gas or propane, or the vapors from pooled flammable liquids or dust were there, or he or she should be able to determine whether there was some other source for this very particular explosion. Detonations, if we talk about, they are the explosions in which the combustion zone propagates at a rate in excess of the speed of sound, while a deflagration is the combustion zone which propagates at rate less than the speed of the sound. Mechanical explosions such as those caused by ruptures of boilers or other pressure vessels are usually very easy to recognize. Let us now look at the list which is characteristic that an investigator may use to help distinguish between an event caused, whether it has been caused by an explosive material or an event involving the deflagration or detonation of a diffused fuel. As you can see in this table, this will help you how to investigate what characteristic of explosion scene you have to look. What you have to check is whether the material there is explosive or you find the gas, vapor or dust. Whether there is some crater formation or there is no crater formation, whether there is a localized damage or entire walls have been blown out, whether there is a defined epicenter or there is no epicenter that can be found, whether there is the presence of bomb components or there are no bomb components which can be located. And another thing you have to see is whether there are explosives or residues present or there are no explosives present. Another thing you have to notice is if there is no gas, vapor or dust fuels on site, or there are proper gas, smell, vapors, dust, fuel which is present. And you have to note what is the location of the incident and the witness statement, whether it is the detonation case or the deflagration case or it is the accident. The evaluation of the scene of an IED requires additional steps to ensure that the site is safely secured and that potential evidence is protected until it can be collected. These steps include locating the seat of the explosion or crater, and from that conclusion the demarcation of more specific inner and outer perimeters. Once this is accomplished, an evidence collection command post should be established. After this, let us move to how the documentation in this case is done. The person in charge of the evidence should document all the personnel entering and leaving the scene. Documentation procedure consists of determining the level of investigative assistance required to locate the evidence and obtain the legal authority required to search and collect the evidence. This involves determining whether consent to search is sufficient or a search warrant will be required. Let us now understand what is the role of post-blast investigative team in such cases. The post-blast investigator should be aware of the types of and the indicators of the weapons of mass destruction, very commonly abbreviated as WMD, and specifically chemical, biological and the nuclear materials. This is especially important in understanding that the explosion of an IED may be a precursor to the delivery of weapons of mass destruction. Additionally, at this time, the principal scene investigator should assemble the post-blast investigative team that has the responsibility of locating and securing the bomb remains. Further on, the number of team members of the post-blast investigative team, it depends on the size and complexity of the scene, but can be formed as a few as 1 to dozens of the investigators. And these team members should play the following roles, that is, they should be a team leader, they should be a bomb disposal technician who can assist the disposing of the bomb if there are some live bombs there, photographer and his or her assistant for the proper photography to be done, the evidence recovery personnel, those who will be searching for the evidence and then collecting, the evidence custodian will be the person that these evidence which are collected will be kept with him or her with proper descriptions and labels properly packaged. Evidence custodian we have talked, and then we also require the sketch artist, that is, the entire scene can be sketched and the important points which have been observed will be mentioned there. Then specialists like chemist or structural engineer are also to be a part of that team, and then there have to be equipment and supplies to be there. Additionally, the types of evidence collection equipment and supplies varies depending on the complexity of the scene. At a minimum, the team requires various types of containers, plastic and nylon bags of various sizes along with some metal cans, paper, some writing instruments for evidence documentation, and it is advisable that the proper formats which have been evolved by the authorities, they should be used here. The evidence labels, rulers, measuring tapes, the hand tools, sifting screens and the residue collection kits, they all should be there to support the team who is going for the investigation of such a explosion scene. So, dear students, let us now summarize what we have learnt in this module. In this module, we have learned that the investigation into an explosion involves two types of investigation. There is a field investigation, which is also called as crime scene investigation, and then there is a laboratory or the chemical examination of these exhibits. We have gone into the detail of the crime scene investigation here. The scene investigation involves the site documentation and collection of the post blast debris and components. Initial response, evaluation of the explosion scene, entering the scene, documentation of the scene, where to find evidence, how to find evidence, the final survey and release of the scenes are the important steps which determine whether an explosion scene actually exists or not. The first responding officer evaluates whether an explosion has occurred or not. The first responding officer establishes the exclusion perimeters around the scene and removes the personnel from the scene as a part of his or her duty. The first responding officer should also immediately assist and provide the medical support to the personnel who are there and also help them in their removal and take care of the injured. It is not the duty of the first responding officer, rather of a post blast investigator, to make a proper cause determination of the explosion, that what was the cause of that explosion. The safety assessment should include an evaluation of the blood-borne pathogens, metal glass debris, fire, structural integrity, utilities, especially the electrical of possible explosion scene hazards, that should be ensured. We also studied that the evaluation is conducted by an investigator knowledgeable to make the determination of whether the explosion was caused by the detonation of an explosive or it is the deflagration of a diffuse fuel explosion. The person in charge of the evidence command post should document all the personnel who are entering and leaving the scene. Documentation procedures determine the level of investigation which is required and what type of assistance is required to locate the evidence and also obtain the legal authority required to search and collect these evidence. Determining whether to search is sufficient or a search warrant is required as a part of documentation, it is important to be noted there. Furthermore, the post blast investigator, if you look at his or her role, they should be aware of the types of and the indicators of weapons of mass destructions, especially when chemical, biological and nuclear materials are there. The number of team members of the post-blast investigative team depends on the size and complexity of the scene. And if we talk about the team members, there should be a team leader, there should be bomb disposal technician, a photographer and assistant, evidence recovery personnel who are searching, then the evidence custodian, the sketch artist and some specialists like chemists and structural engineers. The team requires various types of support like containers, paper, writing instruments for evidence documentation, evidence label, rurals, measuring tapes, hand tools, sifting screens and residue collection kits which they must take along when they are going to such a scene. Thank you.